Yes, hello. So another problem here, sample problem 2.3. So four forces act on both A, this is the boat. Determine the resultant of the forces on the boat. Yes, so there are a lot of mistakes in this material, but we manage because you are the upcoming engineer, so you need to solve the problem solvers. Right, so we have four forces here and we are to find the resultant of these four forces. Are you okay? Right. So this one, it would be tacky. It will be a mess if we should go with the tip to tail because we'll be getting about uh, four sides for which is not in the scope of the triangle. We spoke about the cosine, the sine, or what we call the Lamise theory. So if we should go using the tip to tail, it will not help. So we will go with the Cartesian form, right? So we will start with F1. F1. So F1, we know the angle that it makes with the x-axis is 30. So the x component from F1 will be F1x, which will be 150 cos 30. And it's positive because if we check, this is how the alignment will be. To go here and come up because you need to come and meet the resultant. So it's positive I. Then F1, the y component, that one too will go up. So it's like this. Go up then the x component. This is what we call the rectangular component of the resultant force. Yes. So this is 150 because the resultant is 150. Then sine, what is the angle it makes with the horizontal? 30. And this will be G. Then we move to F2. F2. So F2 too, we have the x component, we have the y component. So the F2, the x component, let's see. The x component should go in direction of x. So if I should, this will be so here it should go like this. Then here it should go up because it needs to come and meet. So it's like this here, there, like that. So here is where I'm calling the fx because that's what is aligning with the x-axis. This is the x-axis. It goes in the direction of the x-axis. You can see that. Then this is the y because it goes in the direction of the y. Here is the y. Alright, so you can see what is happening here. In the x direction, it's going opposite to this is the positive x-axis. Here is the negative. Mhm. Negative. Don't bring it where the negative. Here too, you can extend the axis. Here is negative one. So you can see that the x component of 2 of force 2, that is the resultant force 2, is moving in the left direction. You can see that. So it will be negative 80. Then you see here will be sine opposite. You can see that because we are dealing with this angle here 20. So F2 is like something like this. Here's how the F2 is like. So here is the F2x, here is the F2y, and here is the F2, which is the 80. That's how it's like. So here is the opposite because we are considering this angle here, not here, no, not here. So here, so here the F2x should be opposite. So if it's opposite, then it will go with sine. You know the opposite goes with sine. So negative 8 sine 20 degrees. Then we know here is the adjacent. Adjacent goes with cos. So that one will be positive or negative. Positive because it's moving up. Why? Why is positive when it moves up? It's moving up. So it will be positive 80. Then this time cos because here is the adjacent now. 2 cos 20 degrees. Then here is I, here is G. As simple as that. Then F3, F3, that's the last that one, F3. F3, that one too, you can see that F3 has only one component. So you don't need to divide it again. The resultant acts in only one direction. That's downwards of y. It acts in the direction of y, negative y. You can see that it's going down. If it's going down to be F3 y only, it doesn't have x component because it has only one component, so it doesn't have x component. So the y component is negative 110 because it's moving down. G. If you are moving down, it's G. Then, or if you are moving along the y, it's G. Then F4. F4 will have two components because it's inclined. It's inclined. So F4 have two components, one along the x, one along the y. So you can see that this is how it will be. To come. So along the x is positive because it's moving in direction of the x axis, positive x axis. So that one, the angle here is 15. So here is my opposite, here is my adjacent. So it will be f4x, which is what is the resultant of f for 100? So 100 cos 15 degrees. I is positive because it's moving to the right. Because this is how the f4 is like. Here is f4. So it will go like this, then come down, and come and meet it. So to go like this, here will be fx, here will be fy. So fx is positive because it's moving to the right axis. Then f4y, that one is going down. You can see going down. So that will be negative. So negative 100 sine 15 degrees G. Then what do you do? Now you find the summation. Let me change the pen. You find the summation of x. The summation of x, you consider the forces 1, 2, 3, 4. So you come here. What is the x? X is positive 150 cos 30. You come here. What is s? S is minus 80 sine 20 degrees. Here it has no x. You can see it has only y component. So you leave it. Then you come to F4. F4 also has s component. That is plus 100 cos 15 I. Then what do you get? What do you get from these computations? So immediately you use your calculator, you bring your calculator out. So 150 cos 30 minus 80 sine 20 plus 100. So all this one is in I. That's what I want to do. All this one is in I. Yes. Plus 100 cos 15. You get 199.1348 I at. Then we move on to the summation of the y component, summation of y. So that one will be summation of y. Then you come f1. What is the y? Y is 150 sine 30. Come to f2. What is the y? Positive 80 cos 20. You come to 3. Yes, 3 now has y. This is the y component. Minus 110. Then f42 has 1 minus 100 sine 15. Yes, then all in D because it's y. All in D. So what do we get? So it's 150 sine 30 plus 80 cos 20 minus 110 minus 100 sine 15. Then that will give us 14.2935 G. So now what do we do? Now we draw our final triangle. We draw our final triangle. So it will look like this. The I component is positive, the J component is positive. So it will lie in the first quadrant. It will be something like this. positive, positive. If x was negative, it would have come here, and y is negative, it would have come to this quadrant. If x was negative and y was positive, it would have come to the second quadrant. But now x is positive, x is positive, x is positive, so it will come in the first quadrant. And how much is x? 199.1348. Then y, y2 was positive, so that's making our diagram come into the first quadrant. First quadrant. So this is the resultant that we are looking for. Then y component was 14.2935. So now here is 90. You can find the angle that the resultant makes with the x-axis. You can find that's theta. So now let's find the r. R squared is equal to 14.2935 squared plus 199.1348 squared. So 14.2935 squared plus 199.1348 squared. You are getting 39,858.9727. Then r is equal to square root of the whole of 39,858.9727. So what will be my r? R will be equals to square root of 39,858.9727. That's uh, a huge number, 199.6471 Newton. So this is equivalent to 200 Newton. That's for the resultant. That's for the resultant. You can see it here. Yes, so this time the handout got it right, right? We are proving the lecture that we are also engineers. Yes, we are also engineers. So this is the final diagram that they are having here. Yes, this is what we have. If you can recall, this is what we have. Yes, the y is 14.3, the x is 199.1. 199.1. Yes, we are also engineers. So now we find the angle. So how do you find the angle? We have opposite. Here is opposite because we are interested in this angle. So here will be opposite. Here is adjacent. The resultant is the hypotenuse. So now let's use the tan. That will be simpler. So tan theta is opposite 14.2935 over adjacent, which is 199.1348. So theta will be equal to tan inverse of 14.2935 over 199.1348. So 14.2935, 14.2935 divided by 199.1348. What do you get? You get a small number, 0.0717. So theta is equal to tan inverse of that. Tan inverse of this. Yes, you need to solve it all. So 0.0717. What is the tan inverse of 0.0717? That is 4.1. 4.1 degrees. Yes, 4.1 degrees. That's a small number. It's here, 4.1 degrees. It's a small angle. So that's the final solution of this. This comes in examination. You see it anywhere in the industry. You just kill it at a go. You just kill it at a go. So thank you once again for joining me with this marvelous example. This is a marvelous one. You'll be seeing this in the examination frequently in the quizzes. You need to resolve them. Each of the forces, if there are five forces, you resolve all of them into x and y components as I've done here. Then after you are done, you sum the x components here. You see, with my fx, you sum all the y components with my fy. Then you use that values you had to come and draw a final triangle. And that triangle depends, the direction depends on the sign convention. If it's positive, for instance, there is a mention of X, it means it will lie in the first quadrant. If the Y is positive, then that one too will lie in the first quadrant, making your triangle to lie in the first quadrant as here. If it's not that, then it will lie in any of the quadrants left. Then you find your angles, you find your resultant. That's all. So that's the way. Next meeting, we'll be looking at intro to 3D. That's 3D forces. Now we are moving from IJ to IJK. Is it not interesting? Very interesting, right? And this 3D, we are using three methods: blue triangles, coordinate method, and the lambda method. You will see all these ones, you understand them. So don't panic. You are with me. May the Lord bless you. Thank you very much.